Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Dave, should we reorganize before we do the first? Mine's on, I think.
Did you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, all right. So welcome, everybody, to 2024. And welcome to our newest board members, Commissioner Gahn and Commissioner Matt McGowan, looking over my shoulder. And welcome to the returning members as well. Welcome back to Tracy, who's here, pinch hitting. It's good to have you back. I trust you've all had an opportunity to read the minutes from December's meeting and that Tracy circulated last week, so I'll entertain a motion to approve those.
So moved.
Second.
On the question, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Anybody from the public wish to address the board on agenda items only? You want to come
the
up to the
podium, please?
podium and let us know what your name is? This is only on the items that are listed for the agenda.
I'm sorry, this isn't listed on the agenda. It's about a subpoena I gave to the prison that wasn't served.
Okay, you can go back and have a seat, and we'll address that in due time, okay?
Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, seeing nobody else, I'm going to have to abdicate the chairmanship. Look at the disappointment on my face. It's time to reorganize, so I'll entertain motions to appoint the chairman and a vice chairman of the prison board.
I'll make a motion to appoint Judge Jim Gibbons as chairman of the prison board.
I'll second it.
It's a lot of seconds.
Just pick one.
On the question? All in favor?
Aye.
I abstain. So,
Congratulations.
pardon?
Congratulations.
Thanks, we'll talk later. And I'll entertain now a motion to appoint a vice chairman of the board. Sheriff McAndrew's been our loyal vice chairman for many years.
I'll make a
Abstain.
motion to appoint
Abstain.
Sheriff McAndrew as vice chairman.
There we have a motion and a second. On the question, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Note the abstention of the sheriff. Congratulations, you're riding shotgun for another year. Next item on the agenda is a motion to set regularly scheduled meeting days of the prison board, which will be held on the third Wednesday of the month at 12:30, and unless otherwise specified. Quarterly, the meetings will be out at the prison, and otherwise they will be held here, unless otherwise specified. But that's our normal schedule. So I'll entertain that motion.
Motion, I'll make that.
Do I have a second?
Second.
On the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. We will meet according to that schedule. Now I'll have a motion to follow Robert's Rules of Order for conducting the monthly meetings of the prison board.
So moved.
Second.
And I have a second on the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. And next is a motion to pre-approve and audit bills and certify for payment the bills which routinely fall within the adopted budget. and that all invoices which do not fall within the adopted budget parameters be brought here to the board meeting for pre-approval for payment and to approve payroll at the monthly meetings. Do I hear such a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
On the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. And according to that, we'll move to the next item, which is a motion to approve the current payables for the Community Corrections Center and the prison. They were circulated by Tracy earlier, and I trust everybody's had an opportunity to review those. If so, I'll entertain that motion.
I'll make the motion, Judge.
Okay? Do I have a second?
Second.
All right. On the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. All current payables are approved. Next would be a motion by Mr. DeBilio, so concerning the Pennsylvania Local Government Investment Trust.
Yes, Judge, thank you. So for the benefit of our county inmates, this board established investments of canteen funds to earn interest starting approximately September of 2022. Our current 6-month investment rates for our canteen account funds with the Pennsylvania Local Government Investment Trust, or PLGIT for short, will come to term in the coming days. For our new commissioners, canteen funds are derived from a portion of sales from our prison commissary for purchases by inmates of optional items like snacks, beverages, pastries, and so on and so forth. Page 2 of my upcoming controller's report will list all of those items that we're paying for this month. But 2 of our 6-month terms for investments with PLGIT mature on January 19th, one being $157,000 and the other being $639,000 approximately. And another 6-month term of $103,000 will mature January the 26th. That totals $899,493 as of next week once the investments mature. Our current PLGIT rates, according to PLGIT, are approximately 5.5% annualized. So should we reinvest those funds for 6 months, another 6-month term, we'll be receiving roughly half of that 5.5, or about 2.75% on our $899,000. Currently, the prison board policy calls for the canteen account money to be spent for the benefit, welfare, and education of our county inmates. And in addition to the $899,000 invested with PLGIT is $369,155.15. That sits currently in the canteen checking account. And I can make the reinvesting of the $899,493 effective January 19th for 2 6-month terms, and effective January 26th for 1 6-month term, in the form of a motion for the board.
Okay, the motion's on the table.
On the question, are the minimum terms 6 months? Is that
No,
or-
it's not. There's all different terms, Attorney Powell. It's actually, I believe it's 1 month, 2 month, 3 month, whatever we might so choose. Rates seem to be coming down a little bit from where they were. Our current rates are a little bit higher than what our current rates expiring next week.
Are you recommending the 6-month term based upon the return, percentage of return?
I think the 6-month term seems to be at a good rate right now, locking in what's available to us at 5.5% right now. But it's the pleasure of the board on how long of a term they would like to invest the money.
That was going to be my question, is it locked in and
It would be locked in for the 6-month
for
period.
6 months? What if you wanted to do it for 12 months? It'd be float? A
Yeah,
floating rate?
the 12-month rate might be a little bit different. I don't think we have that rate available to us, or do we, Reggie?
Same rate.
Same
My
rate.
deputy controller is here. Pliget, for example, the current 7-day yield is 5.15. Pliget Prime, which is roughly the 6-month term we can get, is 5.51. I don't see a rate that's longer than the 6-month term here in front of me right
Okay.
now. Yeah, we
Well, we're up against a little deadline here.
January 19th, 2 of the terms come up, and January 26th.
If we don't do it today, we're gonna have a gap.
Yeah.
And
There's a little bit of a gap. I'm not sure what we'll earn in the meantime,
when we
after
last,
the 6-month term is up.
I apologize, when we last did that, we did it for a 6-month term,
We
correct?
did, we have, the last 2 periods have been 6-month terms. Attorney, yeah.
I'll make the motion based on that. I think that's the most prudent way to go.
I agree, I'll second the motion.
Okay. On the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it, so thank you. I
Thank
think
you.
it's a good move.
Yeah, we'll
So
take care of
thank you.
that.
Thanks for the work.
Take care of
Thank
that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, and next is a motion to approve and extend the professional services agreement for 3 years with Jean Marie Pregman-Molesky, the licensed cosmetologist who provides services at the county prison. This is one of those services that we pay for out of the canteen account.
Yes, it is.
Haircuts
Yes, it is, Judge.
and such, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, it is, that's. a
She's
covered
been doing the work
expense.
for a while.
She has,
Okay.
she has.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
On the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it? Okay. So now we'll move to the Controller's Report. Mr. DeVillio.
Yes, Judge. Controller's report of the prison inmate and canteen accounts as of December 2023. The Controller's Office reviewed the prison inmate and canteen account reconciliations, which were prepared by the Prison Business Office for the month of November 2023, and found no discrepancies between the reconciliations and the bank statements. The balance in the inmate account was $370,375.28 as of December 31st, 2023. And for the benefit of our new commissioners, the inmate account money is exactly that. It's money that is owned by the inmates. The inmates put money in their own accounts to use at the commissary if they'd like to do that. And then they get money once they're released, if any money in their account is still available. The balance in the canteen checking account was $369,155.15 as of December 31st, 2023. In addition, as of December 31st, the canteen account also included a balance in the Pennsylvania Local Government Investment Trust, investments totaling $899,000, earning approximately $4,100 per month, which will mature in January of 2024, which we just took care of. And during the month of December 2023, $83,559.05 was paid from the canteen account for the benefit, welfare, and education of county inmates. And an itemized listing of those expenses are attached to my report. And that concludes my report.
Okay, any questions for the controller? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve his report.
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
On the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. The report is adopted. Thank you, Controller DeBillio. Next, we'll hear from Norm McConaughey on the Community Corrections Center report.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Afternoon, Norm.
Afternoon.
This is the house arrest report for the month of December. Adult house arrest had 173 participants. Juvenile had 23. Programs revenue, house arrest had $54,621.91. Juvenile had $5,430 for a total of $60,051.91. Year-to-date totals on both is $741,817.53. Programs expenses is $86,063.51. Programs completions was 39, violations were 9, still 4 outstanding warrants in house arrest. Budget overall, overtime was at 117%, expenses were 101%, and revenue was 110%. And that's the end of my report.
Any questions for Mr. McConaughey? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve his report.
So moved. Second.
On the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. The report's approved. Thank you, Mr.
Have a
McConaughey.
good day.
Have a good day. We'll have the warden's report from Acting Warden, Deputy Warden Colleen Orzel. I will let everybody know I spoke with Warden Betty this morning. I've been speaking with him periodically, and he's coming along fine, feeling good. Still on track to return to work in February.
I concur. I spoke with him as well, and he's doing good, so. Good afternoon, Board. The average daily population for December was 756 inmates. 583 were county inmates. We averaged 645 adult males, 8 juvenile males, and 102 adult females. The average daily population of U.S. Marshals detainees was 173. Overtime and out-of-county boarding reports are attached. The staffing update, we currently have 171 corrections officers on shift, 7 out on workers' comp in December, 3 on continuous FMLA, and 75 on intermittent FMLA. In the month of December, we had 6 full-time vacancies, which makes a total of 184. The budget as of December 31st, 2023, revenue was at 102% and expenses were at 100%. For extraordinary occurrence reports, there were 8 in the month of December. On December 1st, 2023, an inmate forced his way into the office of a housing unit and became physically and verbally aggressive toward a corrections officer. Upon quick response from assisting staff, the inmate was secured and taken to a different housing unit. Because he was combative and assaultive, the emergency restraint chair was utilized and to ensure the safety of himself and others. The correctional officer was not harmed or injured in the altercation and was followed up with a meeting with members of administration just to make sure he was okay and just to kind of debrief from the incident. On December 3rd, an inmate was brought into the booking department by the arresting authority and was acting erratic and combative. Due to noncompliance and physical aggression, the emergency restraint chair was utilized to eliminate physical injury and gain compliance. On December 8th, an inmate was banging their head repeatedly and continuously off of the cell door and was displaying self-injurious behavior. After failed attempts at crisis intervention by a trained CIT staff, the emergency restraint chair was utilized to eliminate risk of self-harm. On December 12th, an inmate, while on a 15-minute suicide watch, covered the camera cell, barricaded themselves under the bunk, and wouldn't come out. It was explained to them that they must be visible while on a suicide watch, and they refused all direct orders to come out. After multiple failed attempts and directives and failed attempts at crisis intervention, staff had to enter and remove the inmate from under the bunk. Due to combative behavior, the emergency restraint chair was utilized to gain compliance and eliminate the risk of self-injury. On December 13th, an individual was committed while in the emergency restraint chair. The The individual was aggressive and fought with the arresting authority and sheriff's deputies. He was evaluated at the hospital prior to commitment, and the hospital cleared him for incarceration. On December 14th, during an altercation due to noncompliance, staff utilized OC but were met with negative results. The e-bid was utilized successfully to be able to put the inmate in hand restraints. The emergency restraint chair was then utilized to gain compliance and eliminate injury to the inmate and others. On December 18th, a disruptive individual was committed from house arrest. The individual refused to exit the vehicle and participate with the booking process. Therefore, they had to be forcibly removed and was placed in the modified position in the emergency restraint chair in order to be brought into the facility and properly booked. On 12/19, again, an inmate was continuously banging their head on the cell door and was kicking the door. After failed attempts at crisis intervention, they had to utilize the emergency restraint chair to ensure that they wouldn't harm themselves further. Last occurrence in December was unfortunately a death of an inmate. On December 29th, we had a report, so 2 days prior, so on December 27th, an inmate was taken to the hospital. It was an inmate, elderly, with known medical issues, and he ended up passing from his illness. And he was actually brought to our facility because of the medical care that we provide. It was actually superior to other facilities in the area. So again, knowing he had the medical issues, he was incarcerated, and then just throughout the duration of his incarceration, he battled his medical issues and then was taken and then passed away. For PREA, there was one PREA investigation completed in the month of December. It was an inmate-on-inmate sexual harassment investigation, and it was unfounded. All completed investigations have been forwarded to the DA's office for further action if deemed appropriate. For personnel-related inquiries, I have one request for a full-time hire. We did have...
Well, we'll go into
Okay.
executive session.
Okay. Yeah, so we have one full-time opening due to somebody backing out of a job offer. So we have one opening that I'd like to ask for permission to hire. And then finally, it's not on my report, but I do want to express all of the Lackawanna County Prison employees and administration to just send our thoughts and prayers to Detective Gil Martin and his family.
Okay, thank you. Any
That concludes
questions?
my report.
Any questions for Deputy Warden Ozell?
Are there any new hires coming up, any classes coming up for?
Yes, we do have a class starting. It was supposed to start yesterday, but because we had somebody back out, the job offer was given, he accepted it. But then when we called back again, he declined it. So we had the one opening. And just with, the holidays and things kind of getting settled after the new year, we pushed the start date for the class to start on January 30th. So we will have 6 full-time employees, corrections officers in that class.
Will that help with the mandatory double shift
It should.
situation that we have there?
As stated, we have a huge amount of people on FMLA and some workers' comp cases. So it should help with mandates. But right now, we're battling a major FMLA. Obviously, FMLA can't be denied, but we have half of our staff is on FMLA, and they use it intermittently. So we've been meeting regularly to discuss these issues and see how we could eliminate a lot of the mandates. So.
Anybody else? If not, I'll entertain a motion to accept the warden's report.
So moved.
Thank you.
Do I have a second?
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. The ayes have it, the report is accepted. So, as I indicated, I'm going to call for an executive session at this point, so I'll ask everyone to step out, except those involved in the executive session. Okay, we're back. We went to executive session on a personnel matter, and Acting Warden Orzel, you have a
Yes.
proposal for a hire.
A request to hire. We have one opening for a full-time correctional officer due to a prior hiring declining the position. So we were requesting to hire Estrelita Hinckley as a full-time corrections officer.
Okay. Do I hear a motion?
I'll make the motion based on her recommendations, as well as Deputy Warden Tarudo.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right. And you're comfortable and confident you interviewed
Yes,
this
very,
person?
very much, yes.
Okay.
She interviewed with myself, Deputy Warden Piga, and Captain Ruddy, and we all felt that she would be a good fit for the position.
So we have a motion and a second on the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it.
All right, thank you.
Estrelita Hinckley will be hired as a corrections officer.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody from the public wish to address the board? And I will take this opportunity to remind you that there's a three-minute time limit for people. What's your name, sir?
Adam Brodowski. I'll be right to the point. I was assaulted in Lackawanna County Prison in 2021. A PREA report was filed, but I've requested it, and the PREA coordinator, Jennifer Palamides, she said to subpoena the documents. I gave one to the jail originally October 30th. They had 20 days to respond. They did not. I sent one to her directly January 3rd of this year. And I also gave one on January 3rd to the district attorney, Mark Powell. And I'm waiting for a response for the PREA report, the NERTAG body scanner images, and any other documentation about C.O. Clark that was involved, Alex Vega, Randy Smith, and Doug Spencer. I know who assaulted me. I just need the information that I subpoenaed. That's all.
David?
Yeah, we just received that subpoena the other day. We're taking a look at it. I have some concerns about the legality of it and the propriety of that mechanism. You have a criminal case docket from 2021 listed on the subpoena that these materials wouldn't be relevant to anything in that case as a closed case. Some of this stuff is investigative material. We're reviewing it, but we'll probably quash this in court and go through the proper legal vehicles to get that information.
I spoke to Joe Delaney, the PREA coordinator from Washington, D.C. He said subpoenaing the documents, I could follow through prosecution.
You would have to use the appropriate legal vehicle. I can't give you legal advice, but you can't subpoena non-material relevant information on a closed case. It has to be relevant material to an open case that's in a court.
And I'd suggest you look at the CREA statute, which prohibits the release of investigative material.
The PREA coordinator told me that I could request it.
They may have misspoke or you may have misunderstood. I don't know. I'm just looking at it from our perspective here.
Well, I think, and one of the points that Mr. Salfinelli is making is you used a docket number from a case that's closed and has nothing to do with the allegations that you're talking about in your subpoena. And so you have to use the right vehicle in order for the subpoena to be effective. You can't just put an old docket number on a subpoena and have it be effective.
Well, it's relevant to the case for the appeal.
That case doesn't reflect an outstanding appeal. You were pled and sentenced last February.
Yeah, but I'm still on parole for it.
Your
And my
case-
my
your case
parole
is
off-
not on appeal.
My parole officer never even provided this. Aren't they supposed to be involved with every bit of legal?
Mr. Brodowski, these are totally different issues.
Okay.
Sorry, we can't give you the satisfaction you're looking for at the moment.
But my parole officer should be able to provide me with the PREA report.
You have to talk to an attorney of your own, sir.
Okay.
I would recommend that you seek counsel and get an attorney to do it, but your time is up now, so.
I'd just like to make a report. I'm still passing blood from the assault over 2 years ago. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else?
Good afternoon.
Name, please.
My name is Francesco Malacaria. Happy New Year's.
Happy New Year.
I'd like to welcome the new board members and returning board members. Last year, I think it was around August, there was discussion about having an audit of the solitary policy. I would like an update on that if anyone has.
Not exactly an audit, but a review by someone with outside experience, and they are currently under review.
Okay. Is there any options for getting someone else potentially? Because I would argue that the former warden, who was possibly the one who wrote or was involved with writing the policy, isn't really an outside view of the policy. So by bringing in the former warden to look at the policy of solitary confinement, I would argue isn't really an independent look. If we can get someone from outside the county at the very least. I know that he's involved with the Wayne County facility, but maybe someone that doesn't have direct ties to this prison might be a little bit of a better idea if we want to claim independence on this.
Well, you can argue that, but I have confidence
We
in the man.
haven't seen any movement on this. I would, like this to be reconsidered.
I appreciate that, but he's working on it, and we'll wait and see what
Is he working on it, or is he under
Yes, he
review
is
too?
working on it. Yes.
Okay. 'Cause
Okay. I don't know how many different ways I can say that, but he is.
You said that he was under review.
Yeah,
for
that
it.
means working on it.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Joan Hodawan at Scranton. Last night at Scranton City Council meeting, there was a lot of discussion about the attack on Detective Gil Martin. Among other comments made in the peanut gallery were suggestions about the number of or percentage of inmates in the county prison that had gang affiliations. Do we have some kind of ballpark number about how many inmates might have gang affiliations?
Colleen, are you?
We have a captain and a lieutenant.
Oh,
Why don't
you
come
can
up?
use the mic, please.
We currently have a captain and a lieutenant focused on gang affiliations and especially now during this, I would say, sensitive time with Detective Gil Martin. But we do have people working diligently on recognizing gangs within the facility and their affiliations. And I just spoke with them yesterday asking if that information can be shared so that way our employees are educated on what gangs are present and living cohesively in the prison. So
I think
we don't
that's
have the numbers right now.
I think that's a
but-
hot topic right now. I think we should take a look at,
Right.
what education we can provide without jeopardizing our
Exactly.
security procedures in the jail. So not to cut you off, Joan, but I want to have an abundance of caution before we go down that road.
Agreed.
One of the reasons that I ask is, when people start throwing out figures at, 60%, 80% and everything else, I figure you're the horse's mouth. So, I would look to you for a legitimate figure if there is one. The other thing is, you need to realize that the general public all have skin in this game. Not only are your officers at risk, so is the general public, because everybody is unsafe if we have this gang activity in our area. And it's not just Scranton. I think it's throughout Lackawanna County. So I think you're going to need a regional approach to this problem. Thank you.
Did you want to say
If I can
something?
respond to that, there is a gang task force in effect. It has been in effect for approximately a year. It has been very successful in information sharing with not only the Scranton Police Street Crimes Unit, the State Police Vice Unit, our Lackawanna County Detective Unit, who have 2 detectives dedicated purely to gang activity. It is something we are aware of. It is something we work on. It is something we are successful in gaining intelligence. We can always use more resources. but it is something that we have a lot of efforts focused on and dedicated to across the county. We do obtain information from our resources in the county prison.
Okay. Anybody else from the public?
Good afternoon, board members. My name is Russ Ruthie. I have some ideas that we could do at the prison in order to enhance security, enhance participating, coming to work, and minimize cost. We look at mandates and the use of FMLA. Quick background on myself, 20 years with the military, 20 years with the Federal Bureau of Prisons. I started as a correctional officer, worked my way up to the position of HR manager. I was assigned to the prison in Puerto Rico as an associate warden. However, I had to decline that position for family reasons, if you will. But I have worked in 8 different institutions to include a regional position in Grand Prairie, Texas. We look at the use of FMLA. There's use, there's misuse. And we can adjust. When FMLA is misused, it creates and enhances the need for mandates, which goes into money, lots of money, taxpayers' cost. In conjunction with the discussion with the Department of Labor, we can address, the county can address misuse and abuse of FMLA without consequence, without fear of being filed on or suing the county. By law, the county can address the abuse and misuse of FMLA. Other things we look at would be to enhance the desire to come to work with not just a paycheck, but a recognition program that wouldn't cost the county any money. We want to look at the way discipline is issued. We should look at training as opposed to discipline. And discipline should be it should be specific to the issue at hand and not crush somebody. And on the other side of the coin, treat somebody with kid gloves because of who they know within the prison or anywhere else. That's not fair to everybody. It's not fair to the staff members' families. We also need to enhance the security aspects within the prison alone. So to go into a school, you have to push a button. You have to be asked why you're there. Why do you come in? And then you're escorted in. Why do we not do the same thing at the prison? Anybody can walk in that front lobby and shoot everybody in the front lobby without a second thought. So why not enhance that? The minimal cost of putting bulletproof shielding, if you will, on the windows walking from the front lobby down to records, which is clearly seen by the public. Those windows could be bulletproof at minimal cost. The covering of windows at the prison, the way the units are, the inmates can see exactly what the officers are doing. They can see their screens. They can see all the paperwork. They watch the staff with what they're doing.
That's your time.
So the staff were very cautious, so they blocked windows with paper, with folders. Sadly, we can't see the inmates with what they're doing. So at a minimal cost, we could put reverse smoke on the windows. The staff can see the inmates, but the inmates can't see out. There's nothing more imperative than staff and inmate safety.
That's your 3 minutes, Mr. Ruth.
Yes, sir. All right.
But, the deputy wardens are here. I'm sure they're be most receptive to further discussions with you.
Roger that. All right.
Okay.
Appreciate
Thank
the
you.
board's time.
We'll have
Thank
more
you.
discussions.
Anybody else from the public? Okay. Any other business from members? Old business?
I just have, I know we talked about it last the end of last year about looking at putting an RFQ out for our medical. I know we extended their contract one more year, so that will go by very quickly. So I was hoping that we can get that in process and put that out so that we can see what response we'll get from there. That's the only thing I have with that. I do have some further discussions I'd like to have with Mr. Ruthie over some of our safety and security issues and things at the prison. So I do want to revisit that and what we
Okay.
can do.
No, I appreciate that, absolutely, and we will get started on the request for proposals on the medical. Anybody?
I just had one thing, Judge. The outside audit of the inmate and canteen accounts is in process,
Okay,
and it should be completed by our next meeting in February, we're
okay,
told.
great, thank you. Sure.
I'm Liz Parsons. I was just curious on the topic of the bid for proposals for the medical provider. Is it required by any statute that the medical provider has to only function within the area of corrections? Because that was in the last proposal that was put out that, as part of the requirements, the medical provider that was being sought was specialized in community corrections or what have you. But we've had conversation about maybe keeping that more local. We know that WellPath has sort of failed us continuously in the care that they provide, not upheld their part of the contract. And so I'm curious, just for knowledge, is that an actual requirement for the medical provider?
No, and I don't think it was a requirement. I think what, in the last request for proposal, we certainly expressed an interest in anybody who has experience in it. In fact, one of the groups that submitted a request, I believe, was the Wright Center.
Oh, okay. And they weren't chosen, or?
Well, they were not selected, no. They were
So
not.
I guess maybe.
But that wasn't the reason that they weren't selected.
Right. Are you able to share the reason they weren't selected? Was it cost?
No, not really, but
Okay.
that wasn't. But it's not a prerequisite is to answer your question.
Right, okay. So I guess what would it take for us to maybe consider someone like the Wright Center? I think that's sort of a brilliant idea. Eileen has spoken on the continuity of care, leaving the facility and going back out in the community, remaining with their same provider. So is it, what would it take for the board to maybe choose somebody local versus WellPath who's continuously failed us?
If somebody local submits a proposal that fits within the parameters and is financially sound, because the county has to pick somebody that's, the lowest responsible bidder.
Right.
Okay.
But WellPath has proven not to necessarily be responsible in the care that they're providing.
Well, from your perspective, that's, and I appreciate you're speaking from your own perspective on that. So,
Is it a perspective or is it a fact, since we did look at the amount that they were contracted last year for the hours that they were supposed to provide? And somebody spoke at this board meeting stating that they weren't in fact providing those hours or the positions that were in the contract.
it's your perspective. I'm not going to get into a debate with you on it, but
I'm not,
it's,
I'm not looking to debate. I'm just looking for some quality health care so we don't have another lawsuit for somebody having another amputation or, the number of
That's
other issues.
our primary focus too, is getting quality health care.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else?
Colleen and Jason, could you be sure to speak to the gentleman that was at the podium regarding FMLA, please? Thank you.
Anybody else from the public? Okay, and any new business from any members? Okay. If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Do I have a second? On the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. We're adjourned.